What do we do?
I found Program Director Larry Koppelman lecturing about providing physical therapy for patients with arthritis and osteoporosis. He showed me how today's class would be required to compare the patient's vital signs. They began by reading the numbers of patients in resting positions. Once they had that reading, they repeated the procedure on the patients in standing positions. The students who played the roles of patients were then asked to encounter some physical activity before a final set of numbers were taken. And before this class ended, students learned how to measure a patient's range of motion.
Look at that
Watch
right
your
there.
body mechanics. See, what you're doing is not good, so get off the stool.
So,
And you want to measure the range of motion of the hip joint.
like that right there.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
And then you record that.
Tammy Morrison is the academic coordinator for clinical education, and today she helps students with some assisted devices.
That way when I move my crutches and I bring my effective leg out, I put all my weight in my hands and then bring my other leg up. Okay? And so that would be 3-phase gait. The other phase I could bring the crutches and stuff together in hot gait. Okay? So that's 2 phases.
Professor Koppelman was encouraged by the number of students who applied to be in this inaugural class.
This class that we selected, originally 34, we had 175 applicants. The next class coming in, we already have 275 applicants. The physical therapist assistant learns proper use of all the equipment and how to monitor the patient for perceived exertion and their response to the exercise. The scope and breadth of physical therapy is enormous. We deal with every phase of medicine: orthopedics, neuro, special women's issues. We deal in general medicine with diabetics, peripheral neuropathy, certainly post-operatively and even pre-operatively for all kinds of injuries. We deal with amputees. We deal with wellness as well in terms of preventive medicine. So there's a great deal of information they get in these 5 semesters.
Before they graduate, these students will spend a great deal of time in clinical settings.
They do over 450 clinic hours, and we make sure that they get different settings as well. So they may do inpatient orthopedics, they may do neurological, pediatrics. We give them a variety of settings because they must become competent in any and all of those settings before they can graduate. At present, we have 74 clinical sites that we're working with within a 100-mile radius, with the majority of those clinical sites right here on the Grand Strand. The clinical therapists have been very supportive of this program and stepped up to the plate. Physical therapist assistants are licensed. They must take a national examination upon graduation. It's called the National Examination for Physical Therapist Assistants. As far as the college is concerned, we are preparing them from the first semester. Many of the questions on the exams they currently have come from previous tests. So we don't want them surprised upon graduation, and from the get-go, we're training them to think critically and to select the best answer, which is what will be expected at the time of graduation. In order for them to progress through the program and even go into the clinic, they have to pass clinical competencies in the lab before we'll release them out to the clinics. So each of these skills are checked off, and they travel with a portfolio to the clinical sites so that the clinical sites know that they've already achieved these competencies.
Department Chair Dr. Donna Nathlar-Shirley has set in place an opportunity for these students to further their education.
We have articulation agreements with Coastal as far as physical therapist assistant with regard that they can transfer into the interdisciplinary studies. They will take over 40 credits from us toward an interdisciplinary study degree. So they can use those credits toward a bachelor's degree.
Physical therapist assistants can work in school systems, they can work in extended care facilities, outpatient private practices, and of course hospital settings.
For Techno, I'm Israella Brooks.